everybody hear and see?
Yep, I can.
Yes.
Gary, can you hear us and see us? Everybody hear and see?
Yep, I can.
Yes.
Gary, can you hear us and see us?
How about you, Ray? Can you hear us?
Gary King shows he's muted yet.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you, Ray.
Okay. I can't see me, but I guess I'm there.
Yeah, your video isn't on yet.
It isn't.
No.
Okay. I don't understand that. Let's see what it says. Oh, start the video. There, how's that?
There you are.
Holy,
There he is. Are you with
Can
us?
Gary hear us yet?
Are you with us, Gary?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. That's the quorum that we need.
They are, I don't know whether I'm supposed to call it to order. I guess I was
Yes.
chairman last time, right? And so we call this meeting of the Caro Zoning Board of Appeals to order. We are handling it via Zoom. We'll do officially a roll call of the members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Ray Bates, Gary King,
here.
Here.
Tom Striffler here. Okay. We, if between Joe and Matt, you can make sure we understand the protocol via Zoom. I think we need to proceed pretty much normal, except that all votes, I think, have to be by roll call vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that correct? Are there any other protocols we need to have? Okay. And how about recognizing people to speak? Just raise your hand or whatever, right? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And apparently at this juncture, we don't have any other nearby citizens here. It doesn't look like, although they may join us, or there may be some way they can contact us if it's on. But first of all, we have to elect officers because we haven't met in a year. We only meet once a year or as needed, and we met last September, so this is the first time this year we have met. We have a volunteer or motion. I think what we have is the chairman, vice chairman, and secretary, I believe, are the officers. Is that correct?
I think that is.
I think that's right. Okay. Do we have any motions?
Sure, Tom. I would make a motion that you be chairperson.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion that Tom Striffler be chair of the zoning board of appeals. And moved by Ray Bates, seconded by Gary King. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Bates,
Yes,
Mr. King,
Yes,
yes.
Mr. Striffler? Yes, I guess. Okay. Um, okay.
There are just three of us now?
Yeah, I think we've got openings for two others plus two alternates if there's people interested. And I do believe I saw, Joe, didn't you guys have something posted for
Yes, we did,
interested people?
because that's what we lost Bob Reed as he moved up to Caseville.
Yeah. And previously, Woody Crutchfield had also been on and he
Yes.
passed away.
Right.
So we need at least a couple more members so that we can always meet and have a quorum, but well, we also need to appoint, I guess I'll make a motion to, if we can do it together, we make Gary King vice chair and Ray Bates secretary.
that will work for a short time, but I am going to be resigning right after this meeting anyway. So it would be, I agreed to stay on and get through this hearing, and then I think I've been on it since it started about almost 30 years ago. So I think I've had enough of it. I think new blood would be good.
Oh, Gary.
Okay, well, we can't let you go till we get somebody else in here.
So I would give a name of a guy that would probably be interested. So I figured if I find my replacement, I could get off.
Yeah, that always helps.
Yes. But okay, yes, I will accept that now then. If it,
Is that a,
Are you gonna second that, Gary?
do I have to? Or will it die of a lack of second?
well, I
Well,
think
actually, you really don't need a vice chair, because if you only have two people there, if you're gone, we wouldn't have a quorum anyway.
well, that's
So-
true, but on the other hand, if we do get some other people on board, then we'd need a replacement for you, but
Okay,
so
Yeah.
for procedures now, we probably should have.
yes, I will second that then. So we can move on.
Okay. So we have a motion by Tom Striffler, seconded by Gary King to elect
Seconded by Gary.
Gary King, yeah. To elect Gary King vice chairman and Ray Bates as secretary. Roll call vote. Mr. Bates,
Yes,
Mr. King,
yes.
Yes,
Mr. Striffler, yes. Okay.
Yeah, we're all getting a little long in the tooth, Gary, so
Yeah,
believe me, I understand.
yeah,
I think I've been on this board almost 20 years, so.
yeah.
well, I think we got to make sure that, and we should try and find some replacements like Gary has said, because we can give some examples, but also Joe and Matt need to recruit some too, so.
Correct.
I don't believe we have the minutes from the September 2019 meeting. Do we, Matt or Ray?
No, the last meeting minutes that I have are from 2018. And if we met in 2019, I did the minutes and I gave them to the city clerk. And I seem to remember giving some to Karen, but I don't ever remember getting them back.
Yeah, I think probably
And I,
Sarah has them probably, but she's on vacation, right, Matt?
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure she looked before she left when she sent the packet out and probably couldn't find them.
Well,
yeah, because I don't, the last time I remember meeting was in 2018 when we met regarding the sign on the church.
well, no, we did meet one other time since then for a artist shed.
Right.
Oh, that's right. I
by,
remember that.
Cindy Stewart.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, so I think that was.
And I remembered, and I did those minutes and gave them over to the city hall.
Okay. Well, I think we'll have to, let's make a motion to delay approving the minutes until our next meeting, and then we'll be able to produce them. Because I'm sure they're here somewhere, but we just got to get them around. And I didn't think to ask her when I got the packet about it, so.
This afternoon, I looked in my computer to see if I had them, and I don't.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So you want to table that then?
Yeah, let's move to table the
okay, so
minutes.
that's tabled.
Yeah. So all in favor of, well, can't do all in favor of, but the motion to table the minutes from September 9th, 2019. Mr. King,
I so make a motion, motion to table them.
okay, and Ray, you
Sure, I'll second it.
approve. All right, and I'll vote for it, tabling it too, so it's tabled.
Okay.
Okay, now, are there any public comments at this point? Anybody else online that cares to say anything? Okay. Matthew, did we receive any communications pertaining to this?
We did. We received one letter, but I don't know if you want me to do that now or wait until the public hearing opens.
Yeah, I guess we should do that in the public hearing if it pertains specifically to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we will declare the public hearing for the variance for 701 West Lincoln Street open. And are there, next area is questions from staff and the commission. And were there any questions from the city staff?
No questions, I suppose. Did you want me to kind of explain how we got here?
Yeah, I think we should just,
Yes.
for all of us.
Sure. So the applicants applied for a zoning permit for a 768 square foot pole barn on their property, and I don't remember the square footage of the small one, a smaller one.
It's 48 square feet.
48.
square feet. The first edition was denied by the zoning administrator because the zoning ordinance only allows for a accessory building of 250 square feet or less with a parcel that has an attached garage. And the height of the proposed building was also a little bit higher than the standard for an accessory building. In addition, the second smaller building was requested to be placed in the side yard, and that's prohibited by the zoning ordinance as well. So both of those requests were denied. The applicant submitted their application to us, and they are asking for variances on all of those items so that they can build their pole barn and their, I think it's being referred to as a gnome dome or she shed. And that's where we're at.
Okay. Questions for the administration from the commission at this point? You have any questions about that? Now, it's my understanding the zoning does allow larger buildings if there is no detached garage or if there is a 1 acre or larger parcel, correct?
Yes, that's my understanding. I think it's limited to, I want to say 1,500 square feet.
Now, this particular piece of property is actually 2 lots, is it not? It's not, it's not a single lot, because I mean, I drove up there and looked around. It's 2 lots. It's 1 lot on the corner of Lincoln and Kenyon, and then the lot behind it, which is just on Kenyon Street, correct?
Well,
It's always been 1 lot, but it's
Yeah.
bigger. It's big as 2.5 lots.
Oh, it's always been 1 lot.
It's always been 1 lot.
Okay.
When you look at the plat, it's the lots there are actually long, so it's 2 lots right next to each other on Lincoln that go back towards the other property
here.
to the south. Yep. So they were long, skinny lots, 2 of them that were joined together at some point.
yeah, it's not the second lot isn't on Kenyon. It's 2 deep, skinny, deep lots on Lincoln.
Okay. Okay, because on
It still
Kenyon
amounts to the
Street,
same amount, same size, and it's and
right.
it's in recent history, it's all been just 1 lot, as Mrs.
Yeah.
Kitchen said, but it's a larger than necessary lot for that area.
Okay.
Would they require some sort of a curb cut on Kenyon Street for a drive on this, or would this, that'd be the only access they would have is off of Kenyon?
Yes, that's what I have indicated on the site plan.
Okay.
I guess I have a question is there are both use variances and dimensional variances. It's my understanding that your application here is strictly for a dimensional variance, not a use variance. The intent would be to use it for residential purposes, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
All right. I guess, Matt, if you could read us any input that you've gotten from the public. You're on mute. You're still muted.
Matt's muted yet.
There you go.
There we go.
There.
There it is.
All right. We have one correspondence and it goes like this. Dear City of Caro, we were invited but will be unable to attend the Zoom meeting on August 20th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. regarding the property at 701 West Lincoln in Caro. We feel property owners should be able to add to their property if they stay within the guidelines of the community. In a residential neighborhood, they should be in keeping with the neighborhood and be residential in nature. We also feel that once the city starts making exceptions, they open themselves up to more problems. It's only the beginning. Standards have been set for a reason. Thank you for giving us a chance to voice our opinion. Concerned citizens, Don and Margot Hahn. And that was it.
Okay.
Give your opinion.
Mhm.
Come on, state yours.
Okay.
You.
Do we have any other public comments or input?
Hello. As someone who drives by that house and that lot every day, I don't have an issue with it if it's used for a residential purpose. The little gnome dome I think is adorable that sits there. I don't see what the issue is. That is a huge lot. And if they choose to put a building on the back of it, I don't think it would hurt the neighborhood at all. Thank you.
Okay. For the record,
Oh, I'm sorry.
Beth, could you state your name and address, please?
Beth Green, 928 West Lincoln.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have a comment too. I think up by you, Tom, in your subdivision, doesn't Al Jones have a second garage for his motorhome up there too? So we did it before. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I don't know. I wasn't on the zoning board of appeals. I don't know whether that got waived. He's also got, we have bigger lots up here in general because we've got, he may very well have an acre because that is our individual lots are 110 by 220, I think. And he's got either 2 or 3 lots. So I think he would be awful. I think he might have an acre.
Yeah. No, I just want to use that as an example.
Yeah.
There's one up there.
Yeah. And it, I'm good neighbors with Al, but it is a little overpowering for the neighborhood. I mean, we've got enough open space that it isn't too bad, but if there was a house in the next lot, it would be kind of overpowering, but.
Yeah, that one's right out by the road too. It's not behind this house.
Well, it's not physically behind it, but it is behind, longitudinally behind the house. It's to the back of the property, but this one it would still be the same way, really, because I mean it's behind the house, but not to the people on Kenyon Street. I mean, it would be boom right there as far as the people on Kenyon Street. Because
I guess my thought was that if you were looking at being on Kenyon Street and looking at that open lot, there are some homes on Kenyon Street. If that lot were to sell, you could build a house on that lot on Kenyon Street, correct? And if that was the case, I wouldn't see any, I don't see any issue with it. And I know that where I live on Congress Street, that there are, like, for example, my next door neighbor has a house with an attached garage, has another garage right next to it and then a pole building behind that. And it's because it's a deep lot, and that's the way it's set up. And it's been that way since we've lived here. So I mean, it's not unusual in the town by any means.
Mhm.
And given the letter from Don and Margot Hahn, I would think that can of worms has already been opened personally.
One of my concerns with this is that we've got really three variances. We've got a height variance, a variance for the size of the proposed building, and some respects it's almost four, depending on, and then the gnome dome could be considered a second accessory building, which you're only supposed to have one, and the then with that in considered as a side lot. But go ahead, Jane.
In the zoning, it says maximum height of 25 feet. This building in the cross section, and I have a cross section, is 14 feet 5 inches tall.
The maximum height of an accessory building is only 14 feet.
14 feet.
Yeah, it's
I can drop it 6 inches and it'd be 14 feet, and then there won't be a variance on the height.
Okay. Yeah,
Right now it's only 5.5 inches.
Yeah,
Five and
right. It's just I wanted to make that clear because that is, yeah, and it is a accessory buildings are limited to 14 feet. Let's see. Do we have any other public comment?
I got a question. If a person like on their place converted their garage to living space, they would not have a garage, right? And then they could build a second garage very easily, right? On a scenario like that?
I would guess. It would.
Because the garage is a small one-car garage, really, that they have.
I can understand I was surprised. It's been a while since years ago, I was on the planning commission, but I don't remember this particular issue before, but I didn't have the recollection that with an attached garage that you were limited in that much in size, and then having the 1 acre lot size. I would have thought maybe if they were going to have the small size limitation, which I can see on a typical RA2 lot, maybe you should only have the smaller one, but it seems like there would be another step if it was a larger lot, even within RA2, that you would have another size variation. So I would suggest that feedback go back to the planning commission for possible adjustment in zoning, but we have to deal with it the way it is today. I mean, that's our responsibility. So any other comment before we close the public hearing? The procedure would be that we would have a motion to close the public hearing, and then we would determine if we were ready to take action on the request. But we want to make sure that we've given all opportunities for input for the public hearing. Okay.
Dane, do you have any comments?
No, no, we're all set. I mean, you've already said that the lot is large enough to build a house on it if it was a separate lot, and it could be done. There's no intention of doing that. And it's not on record that it ever was two lots. And if the 5 inches in height is a part of a variance, well, I can take that variance off the chart. And then we're just dealing with the gnome dome and the outbuilding. Obviously, the outbuilding's more important to us than the gnome dome, because we need the storage. We have 440 square feet that we're dealing with, and my house burnt down. And, just thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Is the gnome dome a permanent structure?
No.
I can pick it up and move it with the SkyTrack anywhere. And that's something that was mentioned to me today, that is not a permanent fixed structure. It could be towed away with a 4-wheeler if it was necessary. It's 6 foot by 8 foot.
Like, does it have its own floor?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does. And 4x4s underneath of it that it sits on.
Okay, I don't think that technically is considered an accessory building then, I don't believe.
I was told that earlier today by a board member.
Yeah, I don't think that is an accessory building if it was a pole structure with a concrete base, then it would be considered an accessory building. But if it's on a skid, basically, I don't think that's considered an accessory building, if I'm not mistaken. So taking that into consideration, we really only have the one variance then, if you're willing to drop the height and its size. Because
The gnome dome, I think, is more like just a garden ornament, if you will.
That's how it got its name.
Huh?
That's how it got its name, the gnome dome.
Yeah.
And my dad is Wade LaPrette, and he has so many antiques, and I wanted to hang them inside of it and outside of it. And he's been getting rid of things. So I said, Dad, I really want this little shed. So yeah, that's what I want it for.
Because I remember the last meeting we had a situation where it was a second outbuilding, because their shed wasn't really just a shed, it was a bull building, and it was
Right.
and that's why we had to deal with that the other time. And where in this case, you really don't have any accessory building at this point, and I don't believe the gnome dome would be considered then, if it's on a
Call it.
portable, to be an accessory building per se. So
Okay.
okay, if there aren't any other inputs and public comments, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Go for it.
Anybody? One of you guys willing to make a motion? To
I
close
will
it?
close
Okay.
the public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, so
Moved by Garrett King, seconded by Ray
Sure.
Bates to close the public hearing.
yeah,
Any further discussion on closing the public hearing? If not, we'll call the vote.
yes,
Mr. King, Mr.
Yes.
Bates,
yes.
Mr. Striffler, yes. The public hearing is closed. Now the question is, are we ready to take action on the public hearing, on the item before us? Or is there more information we need to get? I call your attention to the zoning ordinance. It refers to 4 variances. Again, there are 2 types, either classified as use or non-use or dimensional variances. What we're talking about here is for a dimensional variance. We and a finding, we're supposed to, the criteria that we were supposed to use are that such a finding shall be made only when all of the following criteria are met. The exceptional characteristics of the property for which the variance is sought make compliance with dimensional requirements unnecessarily burdensome or would unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property. Number 2, the characteristics which make compliance to the dimensional requirements difficult must be related to the unique characteristics of the property, not necessarily the buildings, but to the property. The characteristics which make compliance with the dimensional requirements difficult must not have been created by the current or previous owner, and that the proposed variance would do substantial justice to the applicant as well as property owners in the district, and will be the minimum, I don't understand that part, it will be the minimum necessary, and no variance shall be granted where a different solution not requiring a variance would be possible. It's supposed to meet all of those criteria. I think number 2 and number 3, they are for sure the characteristics which make compliance with dimensions difficult must be related to the uniqueness of the property. I think that has to do with the property size, probably. That we could say that that's a unique characteristic of that property compared to other lots nearby. And the characteristics were not created by the current or previous owner. That's just the size of the lot. The other 2 items is for us to decide, I think also then are, would it, to comply with the ordinance the way it is it unnecessarily burdensome, and or would it unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property if they complied with the ordinance the way it was? And the proposed variance would do substantial justice to the applicant as well as property owners in the district. So those are the criteria that we're supposed to utilize for dimensional variances. Like I said, I don't think we have too much of an issue with a couple of them. I'm a little concerned about the that there's not another option, which there is, which would be building a smaller garage, but it wouldn't meet the needs of the applicant at this point. Approving it would allow the property owners, the applicant, justice. The question is, would it hurt the adjacent property owners? And I personally think it would look a little overpowering there on that big of a building. But I think it would take some getting used to. But that's not.
But it sits right in the, as best I can tell from the drawings and looking at the property, it's right dead in the middle of where that that lot, what I consider the second lot, is. you know.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah,
I think,
They met the setback requirements.
oh, certainly. And it's less than if they didn't have that little one-car garage, this new garage is smaller than what's allowed for a standalone garage, you know, on the property.
Good point. Yep. So the question is, are we ready to take action?
Yes.
And if so, what action and what motion are we ready to make?
I have a quick question.
Yes. Kathy.
This is for Shane, actually. Shane, will you be putting in a second driveway off of Kenyon Street?
Yes, that I would like to, but you know, if it hurt what getting said yes, I guess I'd drive over the curb if I had to. You know, that's the stage we're at.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked that is because I think if you put in a new driveway, you'll have to pave it.
Of course.
Yeah, okay.
Annexation. I'm ready. I've been builder for 35 years. I'm ready for all of it.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Thanks.
Okay. So that would have to, that would still have to meet the rest of the, we're not doing a site plan approval at this point. We're only looking at the structure, but the remaining would have to meet the zoning requirements as the only thing we would be approving really is the building itself, the size of the building really, and the setbacks. So, are we ready to make any motion, gentlemen?
I would
Chairman,
make the
I'm
motion.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead,
Okay,
Gary.
I make a motion that we approve these building as requested, with the exception of the height.
Do you mean, Gary, that you would want the height lowered, or would you include the 5.5 inches in the variance?
I would think 5.5 inches in the variance would be okay.
I think that's right. It's close to that. It's 5.5, somewhere in the neighborhood.
Yeah. 14 feet, 5 1/8 on his.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, yeah.
I was off a little bit.
But probably for the record, it is important to have that down, what we were given and what the size of the building is, because.
Okay.
The
So that's your motion, that you would approve the variance as requested to include the height of the building.
That is my motion, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Any comments, Tom?
No, are you seconding?
I would second that motion.
Okay. I think we should include in the motion our finding that it met the 4 criteria called out in the zoning ordinance. That was for your reference, Ray. That's in Article 28. Article 28 of the zoning ordinance. It's on, I think it's page 3.
Let me just see if do I have that here?
It's important for legal purposes that we document this. I hope you guys understand that, because it's, to be consistent with that, we've followed the criteria as established in the zoning ordinance. Otherwise, it could be said that we weren't following the proper procedures as specified in the zoning ordinance, and then that would hurt you guys being able to proceed with what and okay, is that agreeable, Mr. King? Make
Yes.
sure that that's in the, all right. Did you find that, Ray? Or
No,
you
I
don't
just
have, as long as you can check it out later and just document it in there, as long as we referred to it in the.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's section 44-795 2B
Section 44
dash
dash, go ahead.
795
I'm sorry,
795
795
B.
2B. Okay. I'll probably end up coming over to the to your office there, Matt, and seeing that, because I'm sure I don't have that.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the variance? We'll call the motion. Mr. Bates,
Yes.
Mr. King,
Yes.
Mr. Striffler, yes. Okay, that will, once we, Mr. Lane was here to recognize that, so he can work with the zoning administrator for the kitchens to move forward with this.
Yep.
I think, Tom, it's important that at some point the planning commission needs to take up your concern that you were talking about earlier, because I think some of those rules are from times when a very small one-car garage was the norm, and it's not the norm
Right.
today.
Yeah. I can, if it's agreeable with you guys as other zoning board of appeals members, I could draft a note to the planning commission asking them to look at that information, and then I can see that you guys get a copy of it, so you know what I said, make sure it's consistent with what you're thinking.
It has to correlate with the lot size.
Right.
Yeah, and it was an attempt to do that, but it jumped from the small lots to, one full acre lot, and
Yeah.
that's go ahead, Shane.
You guys have a percentage usage of the lot, and
yeah,
and we're at 8% usage of our lot, and I think you can cover up to 80%. So I mean, those are two opposing. Get rid of one or the. I mean, I don't know. Just it was one of the frustrating things that we ran into.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Yeah, I will make that point. I don't know how much of the lot size percentage was originally intended as far as accessory buildings, and how much of it was for, the size of the houses. But I think we should ask the planning commission to review that. Joe?
Yes, we're also asking the planning commission to consider leaving people build on 50-foot lots too, because we have a lot of them where the house burnt down because the lot's 50 foot, you can't rebuild. So a lot of people now want smaller houses And why not consider some of these houses on 50-foot lot for 2 stories and stuff? They're big houses, but you can't rebuild, you know? So we're asking them to take a look at that. and
Yeah, how to
consider
do
that.
it appropriately.
Yes,
Building on a 50-foot wide lot is no different than building on a lake lot on Sand Point. I mean, that's all, they're all 50-foot wide.
Yeah.
You know, it's a common thing. I agree.
yes,
We need to build in Caro. We're
Yes.
dying for houses.
Okay, are there any other public announcements or questions to come before the zoning board of appeals? If not, we will adjourn. Appreciate everybody's input and discussion. I will draft a little summary, not necessarily of this specific situation, but since we reviewed this, and then I'll probably email you, Gary and Ray, at least a draft maybe before I send it, to make sure it sounds okay to send to the planning commission. Okay. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.